Good evening, Twitch.tv. My name is Markus, Olodyn, Koskivirta, and this is the Hearthstone.fi Monday Night Community Tournament number 24, powered by Fraktio, our good friends in the Finnish web services business. We will start off today's semifinals with France versus Slovenia. We have NRV from France, who's brought a lineup of Paladin, Warlock, and Warrior versus Illusion from Slovenia, who's playing Druid, Hunter, and Mage. Gonna go ahead and give the players the get-go to start playing. So we can join the match. Both players currently sitting at rank 6 and 9 respectively. We will go ahead and join Illusion's side of the board. This stream is brought to you with a 10-minute delay, so I won't be able to answer to all of your chat comments immediately, but I will still try my best. Illusion bringing standard Face Hunter, the Arcane Golem, Trap, and Animal Companion will probably get discarded. You might consider holding onto the Companion since you are going second. This is the best value card for turn 3 you can have. Holding onto the Explosive Trap is actually an interesting choice. The reason why you would hold onto that is probably because of the Paladin matchup. What I would expect to see from both of these players, well, since Illusion has brought the Druid, Hunter, Mage lineup, it's fairly obvious that it's going to be the Face Hunter, Mech Mage, and more than likely the 1 or 2 combo mid-range Druid. Those are the very common versions of decks in current meta. And as we can see, NRV bringing Paladin, the mid-range version, more than likely with Master of Battle and Quartermaster, and also a tech card like Hearthstone to counter the current choice of classes. It won't be so great against Druid or Mage, but it definitely will help against Hunter and possible turn 3 Eaglehorn Bow. Let's get into the action right away. We can see that Quick Shot has been teched in. That is one of those cards that was unlocked in the first wing of Blackrock Mountain, and it was expected to be seen in most decks in the Hunter aggressive arsenal. Some players have actually went ahead and switched out Wolf Rider in favor of the Quick Shot, but I understand why you keep the Wolf Rider and go for the pressure with it, because the opposing player has to handle it. So this Quick Shot might have also been teched in instead of cards like a Tracking or the Worgen for the 1 mana stealth drop. Worgen Infiltrator, I believe that's the one. So on this turn number 4, the Arcane Golem is definitely not an option because it would accelerate the opposing side of the board far too much. You could argue going for the Knife Juggler Steady Shot would be the best when it comes to mana curve, and the fact that the Juggler would trade efficiently with the 4-3 should the opposing Paladin go for the full-on removal. Turn 5, Eaglehorn Bow into an Explosive Trap to go for the maximum amount of face damage. Makes a lot of sense, especially that now that the Paladin will be forced to respond to it on turn number 6 with the Hearthstone, and that's not optimal when it comes to mana costs. Now that the Elder Peacekeeper has been used to clear out the Juggler's attack value down to 1, it's not a threat anymore to the Plow Shredder, and it's able to clear it out completely. And there we go. As I predicted, the Explosive Trap into Eaglehorn Bow is exactly what he's looking for. Now, if you want to get 2 cards out of a Hearthstone, you're gonna attack first, clear the board, so to speak, to get 1 more charge to the opposing bow. That's exactly what NRV is gonna go for. Turn 7, Boom. Turn 8, Tyrion. It is looking like a very strong situation for the Paladin player when it comes to the future turns, but if he doesn't get the required answers by turn 8, this 14 hit point pool is still very low, considering that the Face Hunter does have 2 turns to just go for it. This double quick shot is threatening 6 damage in his hands right now, and actually opting to go for clearing both quick shots at this stage because of the fact that it fits the curve perfectly, and the kill command would not have been activated yet due to the fact that there were no beasts in his hand right now. This Arcane Golem Abusive Sergeant by itself is 6 damage, plus the hero power puts it to 8. So we are going to see the Face Hunter take it. It is very, very crucial that he did not play this Arcane Golem any earlier because of the fact that on turn 8 the Tyrian would have been able to be popped down and completely end the game in favor of the Paladin, since we don't see an owl in his hand on Illusion's side right now anyway. It is now 1-0 in favor of our Slovenian player, Illusion, versus NRV from France. He has won with his Hunter, so this means that in this best of 5 series, where you have to win with all of your decks, and he has seen the sort of deck that NRV runs, at least the Paladin, I would guess that he goes for the Mage play first. Because if the Mage is the aggressive version and not the freeze version. Alright, well, outplayed by the players to me because of the fact that I would have guessed that going with the Mage would have been a good bet, because NRB would have probably changed away from the Paladin to something else. Since Illusion has now seen what the Paladin is like and knows to go for the Druid pick for it. And as you can see, NRV stuck to his Paladin, which means that Illusion's pick for the Druid was actually correct. But had he went with something like Warrior or Warlock against this Druid, it would have been an interesting situation to be in. I don't know whether or not the Warlock is Zoo or Handlock. We'll have to wait and see if it comes into play at any stage. This Druid, obviously a Ramp Druid with the Wild Growths and the Shades. I would also assume that it's running at least one combo. Big Game Hunter, Azure Drake, and Ancient Lord. Ancient Lord, probably not the best possible card to have in your starting hand without Innervate, but perfectly on curve. We get the Innervate from the deck. So on turn 5 you can go, or actually on turn 4 you can either go for the Drake or for the Lore, Innervate it out. We need to add NRV's cards. I don't know why it's not showing, so we'll have to unfortunately abandon the match so we can get back to it. See NRV's card choices. Sorry about the small delay. As you can just see, the turn 3 Muster for Battle was played down, and this Shielded Minibot was also given out. The swipe is pretty clutch right now, considering that NRV had not played the coin yet, and with the coin he would have been able to Quartermaster those 3 1/1s into a 3/3 monstrous army on the board. And Druids don't really have anything when it comes to efficient removal for 3 hit point minions. So playing that swipe to his face was actually very, very crucial for not losing the board too badly. Now, it did mean that he's not perfectly on the curve, and thus the Ancient Allure is still sitting in his hand. On this turn 6 though, the Azure Drake was safely combined with the Zombie Chow. I would not attack with the Shade of Noxramas, since it's more than likely to be more useful in the end game when you're going for the combo finisher. Of course, you're playing against the Paladin, so the danger of Equality Consecration is always there, and you are already at 3 minions on the board. He has the possibility to use the coin to put out the Equality Consecration combo, so you could, in theory, go for the attack first. But if you were to attack, then the 4/3 Shredder would have been able to make a perfect trade into it, and that was not a situation where you want to be at, especially since your Shade is currently stealth and completely safe. Peacekeeper on the 4/4 is an option. The Acolyte and the Owl, especially the Owl, you don't want to be playing because it's completely useless onto this current board. The Sludge Belcher one could argue for favoring the Sludge Belcher in this situation. But the fact that it would be easily removed the Shade of Naxxramas' attack by itself, yeah, I guess that's enough to dissuade from making any strong moves. Now that we have joined the game mid-spectating, it means that we're not seeing the Light's Justice, which NRV currently has equipped. So that means the one damage that he needed to finish off that zombie chow was there and still is there. I believe it's still got at least one charge left. This turn 7, since you don't have any height value targets to shapeshift into, just playing the Ancient Lore for cards makes a lot of sense. And holding the stealth 5/5 right now is still a good idea to keep stealthed, since this Acolyte of Pain combined with the Polished Shredder would make it and break it. On the other hand, you do have two 5/5s on the board, so if you attack with the Shade this turn, you're pretty much guaranteed that your Ancient Lore will be still alive on the board, unless the opposing Paladin uses some sort of AoE removal like that equality that we just spoke about earlier. To get value out of the Shade right now by trading to the 3/3, it makes sense because then you're left with 2 hit points and you're still vulnerable to Consecration anyway, so he's going for the face damage. If he had left it at 2 hit points, then this Acolyte of Pain by itself wouldn't have been able to deal with it, and this Polished Shredder would have been able to. Or would have been forced to attack into it, which is sort of wasted 2 damage in a way. But I guess he's afraid of the Consecration already. It would have been enabling the Polished Shredder to trade into Ancient Lore and then removing the Shade of Naxxramas with that Consecration anyway. Now, there is no combo in the Druid's hand right now. Upcoming turn 8, you could, in theory, coin out or innervate out the Cenarius, but I don't see a reason for that. The Sludge Belcher into Shade is... Yeah, the opposing player might have MC Tech, but I'm guessing that the Paladin will clear out the board this turn. At least there's a Shade to be taken out. Now that the Owl has a target, and you're playing against the Druid, so the other targets for the Owl might be something like Ancient of War, and that has been teched out in most recent versions. That silence also enables your Acolyte of Pain to draw for more than just one card, and that's always a good situation to be in. And there's the top deck Consecration that Illusion was definitely afraid of already. Very, very nice draws getting out of the Acolyte of Pain. Exactly the card that clears out the opposing side of the board without you having to sacrifice your Polished Shredder. And with that Polished Shredder, you have pretty sticky minions left on the board. Wrath gonna be cycled out, and Thoughter's Son, yeah, he's gonna play the Thoughter's Son. That's gonna be so much more value. Probably even innervate out this hero power. The Sludge Belcher, on the other hand, yeah, that makes a lot of sense as well. If you innervate out the Shade, then to start growing. Thoughter's Son doesn't get that much value by staying in your hand when you've only got 3 or 4 cards left, but it's less risky, and these guys would have been able to trade into Thoughter's Son for free, so this is actually a better play. The 4/2 and the 1/1 by themselves only remove the basic Belcher, and that's an okay trade. You're still left with the 1/2 Taunter. So, alright, the Flame Tongue Totem. It does enable you to kill off the 1/2 with your Acolyte of Pain, and the small weapon still left in NRV's hand makes it so that he's not forced to use the Acolyte to attack into that 1 hit point Belcher. Either Boom or Belcher hero power. When you're holding on to this Flame Tongue Totem right here, and you know that the Shade of Naxxramas will be able to remove it next turn, I think playing the Belcher hero power makes more sense. You buff your own Taunter, you make sure that your Flame Tongue Totem sticks on the board, and you get 3 1s instead of 1 1s. So it's a pretty good exchange. The Silence of the Keeper of the Grove, probably gonna get used on this Taunter. You're still holding on to 1 more Silence in case of a Tyrion popping up. The Cenarius by itself would be low impact. And once again, if he had a Consecration or some other form of AoE like Equality, it would hurt. On the other hand, Cenarius is perfect on the mana curve. So to play it right now, it's not wrong. It sort of buys you 1 more turn. Instead of those 5/5s and 3/1s going for the face, they're going to go for the smaller taunt. And you're still left with the 5/8, which is able to handle this Sludge Belcher perfectly next turn.
I wonder.
Turn 10, probably going to get Silence, Keeper of the Robe onto the Sludge Belcher, and then pop down Thaurissan or some other big threat. These 2/2s will be removed, so this 4/4 Shade will be able to handle the Flame Tongue Totem, and the Cenarius will probably use its attack power to take out the 3/5 Belcher before any shenanigans are done to it, so it might be returned to the hand or what have you. Turn 8 from NRV set of the board. Knife Juggler Master of Battle always threatens 3 more damage, +1 from the attack. And of course you could go for the Master of Battle Quartermaster combo right now.
I wonder.
And no targets for Big Game Hunter, so that guy will definitely stay in the hand.
Move quickly.
It's greedy. It is really greedy to go for the Master of Battle Quartermaster because your board is so full that it's a big risk to take. On the other hand, you are still left with the 5/1 since you buff your existing minions and it won't die into that 2/2 attack. And well, like I said previously, druids don't really have anything that officially deals with 3 hit point minions. You would need something like a Pyromancer combo, or what else would be good? Spell power enabled swipe does 2. If for some reason you had Starfall, then yeah, you could go for the 2 damage everyone if you had the spell damage. But it's really hard for a druid to efficiently handle 3 hit point minions. It's probably still the same play of the silence plus the attacks. But instead of attacking the 3/5, he might attack the 2/5, or he might go for the face damage. Threaten to have that lethal next turn. Fake that he's got the attack value in his hand. Not playing Thaurissan, actually. Interesting choice. Yeah, the existing minions on the board would be able to remove the Thaurissan, but what else are you going to play this turn? If you're just playing hero power, it means you're taking out the 0/3 and perhaps attacking into the 3/1. Silverhand Recruit? Maybe? But I think that the hero power is just so low impact versus your basic Thaurissan, just as a body 5/5 onto the board right now. It would accelerate the boom out as well, so... This hero power play is very, very low impact. Is this a disconnect? Alright. Illusion did not attack at all.
Let me think.
Not even with his 5/8. This is probably a disconnect.
Well played.
So it is now 1-1 in NRV versus in the Illusion. I will let NRV know that this is or was a disconnect. Unfortunately, disconnects are considered as losses. So it is still 1-1. Doesn't change the situation in any way. Now that the Paladin is out of the way, it'll probably be... Alright, he selected the wrong class.
Let the hunt begin. I will hunt you down. Well fought. I will see.
And that's a bit of a shame. these kind of games, they shouldn't really happen. I guess the tournament pressures get to some people. It's easy to make this mistake, don't get me wrong, it's very human. Let's hope that despite that, Illusion will be able to gather himself and come back for the 5th match as well. He needs to win this one. If he does not win the next... Wait, actually NRV doesn't have Hunter and he's got Paladin, Warlock, Warrior. Wait, just a second. We're gonna make sure that this wasn't a misplay on both players' part. It's just, that was just a marking error on a website more than likely. We'll have to make sure that the Warlock is changed for the Hunter. So now it's got to be the Warrior. And if the Mage is a Freeze Mage, then of course he's not going to be playing the Freeze Mage because that's one of the most lopsided matches you can have. And if it is a Freeze Mage, it's looking not good because the fact that he still has to beat the Warrior on all of those matches, so... And it looks like we might have been Yep, we were disconnected as well. I might have to restart the game client. Yep, so guys, you will see the Be Right Back screen for just a short while. We are sorry for these technical difficulties.
Come in and shut the door.
And despite that, let's hope we can still join the match again. But we'll join inside on the side of Illusion like we were previously as well. And add NRV's hand as well. It is Druid versus Warrior. He has got the perfect counter to your 4-3 Shredder, taking it out with the Fire War Axe, and also having the Armor Smith on the board to clear out the Thalnos. That's a very, very solid situation to be in. On this turn 5 versus turn 3, this means that Illusion has been able to play his Wild Growths, and it looks like he's going to go ahead and innovate out the Ancient Lord. 4 more cards. Turn 6. He does have a lot of options available to him. Opting to not use Harrison Jones right now. I understand why he's not using it, because of the fact that a single charge from a Fire War Axe is not worth that much. If you can deny the opposing player from using the Death Rattle of his own Frost... No, let me see. I suddenly forgot the name of that second axe the Warriors run. Well, you know it. 4 attack, 2 charges. Procs a Whirlwind when it dies on his Death Rattle. If you get to destroy one of those with the Harrison Jones, it's much more value than just getting out 1 Fire War Axe charge. One could have argued that the Sludge Belcher would have been a fine choice as well, because the fact that the Armor Smith is at 3 hit points and the Fire War Axe plus Armor Smith would not have been able to take it out.
Speak to me.
But basically, Ancient Lord is just taking the Execute or the Shield Slam or other optional mode of removal right now before he commits to putting down the Sludge Belcher or the Druid of the Claw. I would argue that going for this... Oh, he's innervating out the Shade of Noxtramas plus Belcher or Jones or Druid. Now see, if you're gonna do that, if you're gonna do the Harrison Jones removal on the Fiery War Axe charge, then he should have done that one turn earlier, I believe. Because if he had not drawn into that Innervate, he would not have had a perfect curve for this turn 6. He still would have gotten the same value. So hold either on this turn, if you're gonna play the Ancient Allure, then you're either gonna hold on to the Harrison Jones and play something like the Belcher or the Druid of the Claw, and wait for that better weapon to pop up as a target. Because now, yeah, there's the Shield Slam. It would have probably been a Shield Slam target last turn as well, but then the opposing warrior would not have been able to so effectively play down Acolyte of Pain or any other minions he might have had stored there. This Ancient Lore perfectly on curve as well, but I do agree with the Sludge Belcher play over it. You want to remove that Acolyte of Pain before the opposing warrior gets to use something like the Cruel Taskmaster to pop it up and get more cards out of it. And you've already seen one Shield Slam, you've already seen one Execute, so the odds of there being another hard removal for the Shade of Noxtramas are fairly low. And if he uses a third hard removal for it, then it's actually quite fine for you, because the Shades of Noxtramas are still only 3 mana minions. They're not what you would call high priority in your deck. So, interestingly enough, I think that the warrior actually is at a pretty good advantage in this matchup. With the Owl, he's able to bypass the taunt and go for the War Axe removal onto this Shade as well. Only half of the combo is in the Druid's hand right now, and if the warrior is able to build up an extensive board before the combo becomes a threat, it's not looking very good for the Druid, especially since the warrior will be able to climb out of that critical area fairly easily. Both big game hunters gonna stay in their hands fairly long. I don't think the Grom will be played early on. He's gonna be used as a finisher when able. This shield block just gonna come out at certain stages to try and draw more cards. Cycling his first Wrath, probably gonna use the second as removal on the Harrison. And we'll have to wait and see if he values the Shade of Noxtramas more than the Hero Power. Nope, the Hero Power, it will be used. It's a good call because of the fact that the War Axe plus that Owl would have been able to handle this Sludge Belcher out from the board. That's Spite, that's the one I was looking for. Wow, sometimes you forget the names of the cards, that's pretty bad, but let's not let that old thing bother us. There goes the shield block. And their Shield Maiden unfortunately won't be able to be played this turn. Oh, he'll probably go for the Fiery War Axe into the face so he can get the Death Spite ready and waiting on the board. He's already seen the Harrison Jones from Illusion, so he's not afraid of any other weapon removal mechanics, and you don't really want to waste the 3 damage from your Fiery War Axe either. If you wanted to make sure that the Death Spite does 5 damage to the 3/5 next turn, then you would override 3 damage weapon first. But I don't think it's such a high priority right now, because even if Illusion has the combo in his hand right now, even if he goes into 9 mana, puts off the combo, 14 plus 5, that's 19 hit points, and he has still at 30, so it's not that big of a threat. Cenarius, yes, you can argue to go for the Cenarius plus 2/2 taunts. Not playing anything except Hero Power NRV on that last turn. He's a bit passive, I think. He should have gone for the weapon usage because of the fact that you're expecting the Druid to be playing some sort of mid-range version. Or some sort of board control based version of Druid. As the warrior, if you're able to push them down so they're not on the offensive but instead on the defensive, I think it would be better for you. But on the other hand, now the 3 attack value axe does get value by attacking into one of these trends instead of just going for the pretty much useless 3 damage at 29 hit points against the Druid right now anyway. Both options are good, both options are good.
I can take the hit.
Shield Main and Hero Power, very straightforward. Now if he did have the combo though, let's see, that would be 10, 6, 16, that would be 30 damage exactly, and the warrior is at 32. So it's very close to lethal if that had been a Force of Nature. Not quite, but almost. Probably going to remove the 5/5 with the Cenarius and go for face with everything else. Trying to draw into the combo. There we go. He gets it. Playing the safe shade on Naxxramas this turn and clearing the board. There we go. Exactly what you want to see from the Druid player. This is very safe. This is very well played. NRV doesn't top deck into his second execute. That would have been taking care of the 5/3. I don't think there is an out right now for him. Nope, there's nothing he can do. Even with the 3/5, now that he's attacking into the 2/2. The Force of Nature will fill up the board with the Savage Roar. We'll have exactly the required damage to take out the taunts, and then exactly the required amount of damage to take out the face. At 14 plus 12, 26 plus 5, yep, 31. It is now 2/2. So Illusion, despite picking the wrong hero for his third match, starting to make a comeback. 2/2 right now with his Druid and his Hunter as the winning decks. We will see a Mage versus Warrior now. Interestingly enough, if this is a Mech Mage, then he has a lot of chances. If it is a Tempo Mage, his chances are not so great. If it is a Freeze Mage, his chances are completely horrible. So I'm hoping that he's got the Mech Mage so we can make this an interesting match to look at. Did we bug out once again? Yep, we bugged out once again. Let's see if it lets us cancel. Nope, it doesn't seem it will let us go anywhere, so once again, be right back screen for you guys for a short time.
Pull up a chair.
And we're back. Let's change our point of view from Illusion to NRV for a change. Although we are very grateful to Blizzard that they incorporated the spectator mode, I would still like the spectator mode to be a bit more stable. We joined the match on turn 2 and turn 3. It is a Mech Mage combined with Azure Drakes. And it's looking like the warrior does have the Fiery Wind Axe in his hand, which has been able to make a significant change and swing in tempo. This is a mirror entity, yep, so there has been a Mad Scientist. Yep, and we've seen it actually being destroyed, so... Turn 3, if he plays down the Acolyte of Pain, you're giving cards, but you're only giving one card to the Mech Mage, and that's not too bad, actually. One could argue that playing down the Acolyte of Pain into the mirror entity is not that bad. Holding onto the Owl, definitely a good call. You know there's going to be targets for it. Not many targets for it, but there's going to be better targets than just that vanilla 3/4. And you do not want to give this Sludge Belcher as a mirror entity either. Just one card, remove that Acolyte with your own axe, it'll be fine. Quick and painless, so to speak. Okay, he opts to go for the Owl. The Owl is a smaller threat and will be removable with the Armor Smith. He's gonna go for the execute. Oh, no. He's gonna leave his board vulnerable to hero power. And this Blast Mage would have been absolutely great value if the mechs had already been on the board. I think since you're playing against the mech mage, the 3-4 should have been actually executed, and he should have used his weapon, his armor smith to go for the 1-2. So your armor smith would have been left with one more hit point, and it would not have been able to be removed with just a fire blast. So that can either be a small misplay or just an alternative play. We'll have to wait and see. He can now proc the Blast Mage, but of course you don't want to proc it, because the Acolyte of Pain in the worst case scenario would draw 3 cards. Using the Frost Bolt right now to clear it out is an actually fine alternative. You want to be threatening with this mirror entity, so that whatever the warrior would be playing at this stage, curving into the higher mana costs, you're going to get value out of it. Anyway, this Acolyte of Pain probably going to get played. It's an interesting decision to see whether or not it's going to get played with the Whirlwind. You do not want to give the Sludge Belcher, that's a no-brainer. Not playing anything is also a good option. Just going for that passive hero power pass. But on the other hand, the mech mage just used their first Frost Bolt to clear your Acolyte of Pain.
I can fix anything.
You don't mind the warrior getting 1 card. So you're going to be the aggressor here. Getting 1 card out of the Acolyte before using your Whirlwind is a good call. Well, actually Brawling, yeah, that makes a lot of sense as well, because the fact that if you Whirlwind execute, you would still be left with that Cogmaster on the board. Let's see, you would have been left with the opposing Acolyte and your own Cogmaster, and their Cogmaster. So, instead of giving more cards to them by using the Whirlwind, the Brawl made a lot of sense. And despite just having destroyed 4 minions from the mech mage's side of the board, it's once again up to 4. Not looking good for the warrior. The Shield Maiden might buy you some time. The Shield Maiden Shield Slam taking out this Goblin Blast Mage. Whirlwind Sludge Belcher Execute also does the same thing. I would have liked to see the Shield Maiden more, because it would have protected you from the Fireball combo. On the other hand, it's unlikely they'll hold on to 2 Fireballs anyway. And yeah, the Sludge Belcher was pretty much perfect against the 2-2 Jugger and the 2-2 Mech Warper. The Jugger is a problematic card when you're playing as Warrior. The freeze to your face pretty much makes it so that you can't really do anything with the weapons. You could overwrite them, do the single Whirlwind effect, but the utility of those weapons is so much more on the damage base that it really does lock you down hard. Now the argument here for Shield Slam is fairly good, because of the fact that you want to be not frozen. But it is a bit of a risk, since it leaves the 4-3 up. Fire Blast, so you'll be able to trade. And the Captain's Parrot, pretty much the worst possible option. Captain's Parrot and Novice Engineer are the things you do not want to be seeing from your Shredders. He's also now destroyed his Shredder, which was his, well, not his only mech, but his only mech with any significant body left. This Mech Warper would be very easily removed. Alexstrasza, is it enough? He's at 15 hit points right now. The opposing Mech Mage is holding on to 8 damage on the board.
I wonder.
If he gets Arcane Intellect, Frost Bolt, into Icelands, maybe. That would be lethal.
Job's done.
Just playing the hero power. Wow, that's really passive. I would have thought that the Shield Maiden would have been bigger priority. But on the other hand, now that you did play the Dead Spite, you can use it to clear the board, but face tanking a lot of that damage. And when you face tank all of that damage, you can use the Alexstrasza to reset your hit points down to 15 once it's done. So now you remove the Lotheb with the weapon, you remove those 2 minions with the Whirlwind, and you play the Alexstrasza, so you're set back to 15 yourself. And the opposing player is only left with the 4-3 on the board. So it's not that bad of a situation. He actually played this better than I would have played, because if I had played the way I had played it, would have left the Shield Maiden up there, and it would have just done pretty much nothing this turn. Only traded for 1 minion, while the Dead Spite actually traded for many more. All four going to Alexstrasza. Wow, that's very, very lucky for the mage player, leaving the warrior side of the board completely empty, forcing him to once again face tank the damage from the existing minions with the weapons. The Shield Maiden is gonna go down this turn. It has got to go down because he's already holding on to 3 damage with the hero power. A single fireball would have been lethal without the Shield Maiden. So if he had not played the Maiden, it would definitely been a misplay. This is a dead card. The Clockwork Gnome pretty much just gonna get cycled, played down to the field, attack to the face with the Shadow Boxer and the hero power. Hope that the opposing player pops the Gnome, so you get a spare part and maybe hope for an Antonidas from these 13 cards. Nope, not playing the Gnome. He wants to threaten that it's something else. Faking that it's something else. I honestly think that playing the Gnome would have been an option. Yeah, it would die to the AoE anyway, but at least it would have done something except just sit in your hand. And it would have been a spare part for your Antonidas. You don't have the spare part right now, even though you decked into your Antonidas, which is one of your win conditions.
Whoops.
There's no way for you to activate it. And there's the whoops from Illusion. He knows it was a mistake to not play the Gnome. And he might well die next turn. That's 9 damage. Yep, 9 damage from the weapon and the minion. Plus 8 damage from the Ragnaros. That would have been exactly 17. So he should have played this, the Clockwork Gnome, just 1 turn earlier. Would it have made a difference though if he had played it? He would have had
Well played.
no way to stay alive thanks to the Grom top deck. If the Grom had not top decked, there would have been a chance for this Ragnaros to hit Archmage and Illusion. Since he had the freezing, yeah, it made a lot of difference because it would have stopped the opposing 5/5 from attacking. Yeah, so it did end up being the game-losing error. NRV takes the series 3-2 against Illusion. We're gonna see the French player go up to the finals, and in just a short while, we're gonna have semifinal number 2 here on this channel. Don't go anywhere. This is the Hearthstone.fi Monday Night Community Tournament number 24, and we will be right back.